We're gonna make this cat.
All right.
Story time.
It is September 20th, 2023, which means it's Brixton's first birthday.
We have a 1-year-old.
That is literally crazy. But I realized we never like wrote down his birth story, never recorded it, none of the details. And I think those are memories that we're gonna wanna have. So we are gonna see how much we can remember from the day that Brixton was born.
I feel like we've told this story so many times.
But like actually laying it out like from beginning to like.
Okay, let's start. We wake up September 19th.
Pause. September 18th was his due date.
Okay, if we're gonna go back to even the beginning, because apparently we're going back to the beginning. When Madison found out that she was pregnant, she didn't tell me for a long time, right? Because I don't know how to keep things to myself, and I work with students, and I went on a winter camp with a bunch of middle schoolers, and then some of my closest friends were there, also leading that trip with us, and Dan and Danielle. She knew better.
I knew he wouldn't be able to keep a secret if I told him and then he left.
So she tells me to the point where she hadn't gone to the actual doctors yet. So as soon as I come back from the camp, she tells me, and we go to the doctors, and the first actual due date the doctor gave us was September 20th.
This is true. And then they later like adjusted it to the 18th.
Yeah. Now fast forward, we go to our first doctor's appointment. She says September 20th, and then the next appointment, it got moved to September 18th.
And then probably, I think it was 3 days before, like September 17th, I got sick. Like I got a cold, which was highly unfortunate. So then at this point, I'm just like, please just stay in there until I feel better. He gave me 3 days-ish. Two.
Really two?
Yeah. So it actually, I think it did work out well because I had 2 miserable days. The third day was like
she wasn't sleeping.
Manageable.
She wasn't sleeping as soon as she got sick.
After that, my sicknesses usually end in like really bad coughs. So like that would have been bad too. So it was really the sweet spot in my sickness for him to be born.
She's already 9 months pregnant. I'll never know what it feels like, but I can imagine having a baby in you. It's tough to get comfortable.
Yeah.
And then you apply the cold on top of that. She couldn't breathe through her nose well. Everything's stuffed up.
Yeah.
And then September 19th comes around. She's still kind of feeling like death.
I think on September 19th at 5 a.m. I woke up and I was like, these might be contractions.
Yeah.
Like I feel like these are actually like contractions. I didn't want to wake Bo up yet. I was like, it's fine, we'll ride this out. Like
pretty sure I woke
maybe
up,
I'll take a shower, see how I'm feeling. Being sick on top of then starting contractions, I just like did not have the energy I thought I was gonna have. I like had this whole idea in my head that I was gonna, take my last bump picture and I was gonna do my makeup and be all freshly showered and all this stuff. I did shower, but I did not look nice. I just didn't have the energy to I just didn't have the energy to get myself together.
She also had a very smooth pregnancy. Super blessed to have not a lot of pain, really no sickness.
Yeah.
So it was weird that she started feeling, not weird, but knew it was time. It's the morning of the 19th. We
actually had a 40-week appointment scheduled for September 19th.
19th. Because that was when we came
and I knew that was like at 10 a.m. maybe, and I had started my contractions. So I called first and I was like, hey, I started having contractions. I've kind of been timing them. Should I still go to my appointment? They're like, yes, we'll check you, do all the things as normal. So we went to my appointment.
Because our doctor's office is in Folsom, but we knew delivery was going to happen in Roseville. So it was like, do we go to Folsom for our office, or does it make more sense to drive all out to Roseville now? Like, what should we do? Which is why it was not confusing, but just want to make sure we're going to our spot.
Yeah. So we went to my appointment. She checked everything, said, you're good. You're like 3 centimeters dilated. So no need to go in yet. Just like keep on track, keep timing. If they get, such and such time apart, or if you're like in unbearable pain where you're just like can't take it anymore, then you can go into the hospital. We got home maybe around noon from
Noonish.
that. Yeah. I like laid on the couch in the front room and I feel like my contractions sped up so much at that time.
This is a Monday morning too.
Was it? Yeah. I started timing them and I think we left the house by 1 to get to the hospital. Like
we left around
that they like sped up.
Around 1:30, and we got to the hospital because we got to the hospital close to 2:15ish.
Yeah. The weirdest thing about contractions is all mine were, I mean, obviously I've only had one experience, so I don't know what everyone else's experience is. Mine were all like in my back. So every time like I had a contraction,
Sorry. Okay. Yes, contractions in your back.
I like, every time I had a contraction, I felt like I needed to like stretch out this way. And then.
Almost like a crampish. Like
yeah, but then they were almost like, it would almost make me like a little bit nauseous. So I was just like, it wasn't like unbearable, but it wasn't like the best feeling ever.
You hear about, like, she was nervous going into having a kid because all you ever hear about is the like crazy stories of moms, women in pregnancy when they get sick, delivery. Like, you don't often hear about all the like, hey, like it actually had a really good, easy delivery.
Well, and I haven't experienced a ton of pain in my life, so I like, you know, I don't really know my own pain tolerance. I just knew that I was kind of terrified. But also at this point, it was just like, let's survive from one contraction to the next. It's fine. We're doing good. I think honestly the hardest part was walking into the hospital, and that they started like getting a little bit more intense. And I'm like walking up to the counter. Bo's not with me at this point because he has to like go get a COVID test or like, and he has to move the car and like all this.
I was able to like walk her through the doors, and then as soon as they took over, I had to wait 30 or 45 minutes because of the stupid COVID crap before I was like, I'm all good. Like, already, whatever. So we got up there.
So I'm by myself, and I go up to the counter by labor and delivery or whatever, and they have me filling out this paper. And so I'm like literally standing there and like mid contraction, and the guy's talking to me, and I'm literally like,
yeah.
Like he's like not. It was so funny because he was so like business. He's like not acknowledging the fact that I am like
not even paying attention.
Not fully coherent. I'm trying to fill out freaking paperwork while I'm in the like mid contractions. Not ideal.
I'm not a paperwork guy.
Well,
but I was supposed to be in this moment. But then you can't be because you have to wait.
But I'm like leaning on the counter. I'm like, okay. Would have been nice not to be by myself in this room. But anyway.
It was my fault.
So they took me back to like the first room. They're assessing everything. Saying everything's moving along well. And then they're like, do you want the epidural? I was like, I can have it already? And they're like, yeah, you can have it whenever you want.
And she said, shoot me up.
Literally, I told people, like, I was like, if I could be knocked out for this process, I would be. Not an option.
It's not. You have to be awake and coherent when you push out your kid.
But I genuinely was. I was like, is there a reason why I should wait or like get it now? Like, if I get it now, is it gonna wear off? They're like, it's just totally up to you. Like, if you want to like wait it out and see how you're doing, or if you want to get it now, and we'll just like give you another dose later.
I was in there at this point.
Give it to me now.
I was in there at this point.
Yeah.
Got in there.
Yeah.
Just in time for
but it actually took a while for like that process.
Yeah.
Between when I was like, yes, I want the epidural, and when they actually gave it to me. Because I think, so we got there probably around 2. And I think I got it at around like 3:30. And by then they had moved me to a different room.
Yep.
My mom had made it to the hospital by this point.
But
they made her leave during the epidural. So they only let one person in there.
Yes. But they allowed both myself and Madison's mom to be in there for the whole thing outside of the epidural.
Yeah. So that was probably the worst of it. Is they had him, they like raised my bed, they had him sit like underneath me kind of, and I had my legs up. I had my feet on his knees, and you're supposed to lean forward while they do this in your back. But all my contractions made my whole body want to go this way.
And you cannot move.
You cannot move. Yeah. You're like, if I move, I could be paralyzed. It's like terrifying.
Yeah.
And so I'm sitting there like during a contraction trying not to move, just because it's like a longer process than I thought it would be. It just like takes a long time.
You're just used to like, if you need like morphine or something when you're in the hospital.
Or if you get blood drawn, it's like like a long process for whatever reason. I'm not a doctor. Clearly. So
could have fooled me.
So I'm like, that was the hardest part, is like literally sitting in the opposite direction that my body feels like it needs to go because of pain, and trying not to move during this contraction. But then after that, oh my goodness, I felt better than I had felt in 3 days. Because being sick, I wasn't sleeping well. My nurse, oh my gosh, she made my whole experience. She was absolutely amazing.
She was the best.
Ludmila, is that her name? I feel like that was her name.
Yeah,
she was freaking amazing. Also, they found out when they did one of the checks that Brixton was sunny side up. So
that boy done flipped over, and we spent the next like hours. I didn't do anything. She spent the next hours with our nurse trying to flip him back over so he was right side up.
So she would like position me on like my right side, and then, like for 30 minutes.
She'd
Then
knock
she'd
out.
come back and she'd do the other side, and
And
then
you'd knock
front
out again.
facing. And I was the most comfortable that I had been in a long time because she was just awesome.
She would wake up briefly to like move, and then as soon as she got to a new position, she literally was out. And I was so bored.
Because of the epidural, it like slowed down my progress, which is to be expected. It's like a muscle
Yeah.
relaxant, essentially. So we didn't really know how long we were gonna be hanging out. I think they ended up giving me Pitocin to like try to speed things up
Yeah,
a little
to
bit,
get it going, yeah.
which worked. Although we were just chilling for a long time. Bo was extremely bored. He was playing pretend football with the baby that hadn't come out yet.
I made a toy out of glove.
He did, and the nurse laughed when she came in. Because
I got caught.
yeah, like hardcore.
She didn't
like,
care.
She's like, oh, all my kids do that. Like all my kid patients do that. And I was like, yeah, Bo's a kid.
Sorry. Like,
he was like losing his mind.
I was.
Did you go to get food at some point?
I think so.
Yeah.
I did, or your mom did. I don't know.
Someone went and got food. I think around 1.
Well, even before that backtrack, we loved our nurse, and she had let us know, hey, my shift is done at 11, so around 10:30, 10:45, when the next shift comes in, I'm going to introduce you to your new nurse, pass you off. And then like 11:30 rolled around, and Lamita, like she's still there, and she was like, they asked me if I want to stay a little bit longer and like take over like a half an extra shift, and I told them, yeah, so I'll be here till 3. And we were like, sweet,
Yes.
perfect. So then fast forward, nothing really happened except for Madison like keep moving sides back and forth, trying to flip them over. At like 3.
No, at like 1, I think that at 1 they were like, okay, you're about
Yeah.
10 centimeters. We can start pushing if you feel ready. I
Yep.
was like, okay. I mean, like I literally didn't feel any different. I was like, I'll push if you want me to push. So they started prepping for all of that. And then they gave, like, it did feel a little bit like the epidural was starting to wear off. Like, I could feel a little, like, more of my contractions starting to come back. So they're like, okay, we'll give you one, like, a boost right before you start pushing.
Yeah.
So the weirdest thing, right after they gave me this boost, I start feeling these super intense, sharp pains all the way up through my, like, shoulder blades almost. And I, like, because of the timing when it was from the epidural, like, they just gave me a boost of this epidural. Because it was the timing, it was right after the boost, I thought, like, something went wrong. And I was, like, kind of panicking. And I told him, I was like, I don't have pain, like, down here, but my upper back hurts so bad.
She thought the epidural had like come loose.
I don't even
in
know
her
what
back or
happened.
something.
I just was kind of freaking out. And they were like, you're good. Because he's sunny side up, his toes are probably like dragging on your spine. I was like, oh my gosh. It was very intense, like muscle cramp, sharp pain, kind of ridiculous. But
so she starts pushing.
So I start pushing.
The issue was, you gotta remember, throughout this whole time, through the whole process of delivering a kid, they're telling you, okay, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in. They're trying to help you. She can't breathe well. Like, she can't breathe through her nose. So everything, like, she's trying. So she's having a hard time breathing.
So basically, the whole time I'm pushing, in between every push, in between every other push, my mom helps me blow my nose. Next push, after that, Bo is like trying to pull my shoulders back. Because again, I feel like everything in labor is like this direction. They want you to be like this because you obviously have to like scrunch over to push. That's the opposite of what my body wanted to do because my back cramps or whatever they were so bad. So like in between every other push, Bo was like trying to hold my shoulders back because I'm just in pain. It's just so funny because I wasn't anticipating that type of pain. The actual type of pain that I was expecting, I felt nothing. It was great. Maybe an hour and a half into pushing, it's like 2:30. They were like, okay, here's the deal. Because he's sunny side up, you could be pushing for a long time. Which is fine. We'll eventually.
They said 4 to 8 more hours.
Yeah. It's because our nurse was like, she probably wasn't going to see him be born.
Yeah.
But then they were like, we have one of our doctors here. She's like known for being really good at flipping babies. It's like, if you want to try that, we can go ahead. We got to do it now before you make any more progress. And we're like, let's do it. So.
Pause. Let's not go into crazy detail so we don't scare other people thinking about having kids. Okay, continue.
So this other doctor comes in, assesses the situation, and it's like, okay, we're going to do this. I kid you not, it was like a SWAT team came in.
It was pretty crazy.
Her whole crew, because before it was just our nurse and like our midwife.
There was no that was the craziest thing. Pause. Crazy thing. I'm expecting like a doctor in the room, like doing all of the things, standing like at the edge, like making sure, telling Madison things. We didn't have a doctor, and like we didn't need one.
Yeah.
Like
these nurses,
full confidence,
midwives are like dialed in. Like,
and everything, yeah, and everything about the nurses and the midwives, like I felt like all of them are doctors.
Yeah.
At that point, because they were fantastic. They were so good.
Yeah. So SWAT team comes in. They like rearrange the bed and everything for whatever positions they need to be in. They're like moving all the things, and we're just like.
We're expecting. The last time we heard something was like, you know, if we keep pushing 2, 4 to 8 hours, and so we're thinking, okay, it's still probably going to be like the 2 to 4 hour mark until we get to meet Brixton. And then right when the SWAT team finished preparing the doctor.
It was not much longer after that. He had already come out a little too far. So she had to like
kind of push him
back in a little bit and then turn him. And after that, it was like literally a couple pushes. And
yeah.
And he was out. He was in the world. And it was super wild. I don't know if this is too much detail, but the second to last push, she was like, his head is right here. Like, do you want to feel it? I was like, I hesitated. I didn't know how to answer that. I was like, I guess. Literally the second I touched him, just tears. Like, I like sobbed immediately. I can't explain it. It was just like, it was the craziest thing.
They asked me if I wanted to touch him or go look. Heart pass. I'll wait till he's fully out.
Bo stayed by my head the whole time.
I wanted nothing to do with seeing anything, except for him. I just want to see him. I don't want to see the process. I didn't want to touch him when he was halfway out. I wanted to hold him after he
was all the way
is born. Oh, he didn't even need to be clean. He just needed to be born. And then they can hand him to his mother and I up at the top of the bed. That was where I was positioned.
And you did a great job.
I did a great job. I wasn't one of the guys, oh, I want to cut the umbilical cord, or I want to help deliver the baby.
I thought that was like a normal thing, and he was like, hard pass.
So then we got to the point where the doctor kind of had to push him back in a little bit, twist him over, and then, what'd you say?
It was like just a handful of pushes. I don't remember exactly. It's like honestly all a blur. But.
It was quick from the point of, it took him a little bit to get the doctor ready, but I feel like as soon as she was ready to go and she started doing things, it was 15 to 25 minutes and little man was out. Like,
he was born at 3:21 a.m. on September 20th.
2022.
Which is honestly so great because I was like, I had said, I don't even remember when, at some point in pregnancy, I was like, if I could pick a date for him to be born, it would be September 20th. Like, I literally said these words because our anniversary is July 20th. And I was just like, keeping the 20s, good for me, good for memory, all the things. I just like a good, even number. It was great. He listened.
Hasn't listened much since.
He's a good listener for a 1-year-old. Come on.
He's great. He, not unfortunately, we're fortunate. So unfortunate that I think he's going to take after me for a lot of his personality at a young age. He got a loud kid. It's awesome. Loud. It is so much fun. I don't know. Like, I'm going to have to compete for.
He's going to get Bo a run for his money for sure. Good luck.
Cheers.
After that, it was like legitimately a blur. One of the things that they encourage like immediately where we delivered, which I'm so grateful for, is like they want the immediate like contact with mom. They want you to try breastfeeding right away, like that golden hour they call it. So they never took Brixton out of our sight, out of our room. Like everything was done right there in front of us. So that was like super peace of mind. And it was just like the most surreal moment when they put him on my chest. I couldn't even process what was going on in my head. It was just like I was just immediately sobbing. I don't know. It was just a wild experience. I feel like it's a little bit different for you just because you're just like, what is happening? Yeah. But like, I mean, I know like for me, it's like so many things happen hormonally in your body where it's just, oh my gosh, like I don't even know how to explain it.
Wasn't she? Because you weren't really like necessarily crying. You were like there's some aggression when you're delivering a kid. I think it's a great word to use, not like in a bad sense, but it's a serious thing that you're going through. You're having to push a kid out of your body. So there's so much focus on that, maybe some exhaustion and stuff from the pushing. But as soon as he like hit her chest, it like all of the like intense everything kind of literally like disappeared. She lost it for sure, and like couldn't control herself. And it was pretty fun. There was a lot of blur. Like everyone was tired. Obviously, she was tired.
So many people in and out of your room, like after that point. And I know for a while they were like having a hard time stopping a little bit of bleeding for me. So
yeah,
that was mildly concerning. I was less concerned because I was just really out of it. I think my mom was more the concerned one.
I was in the middle because I think through the whole process we just learned to trust our nurses really well. You know, they clearly had been there before. They do this all the time. And they did a great job of making us feel confident.
Brixton and I both had like slight fevers for a few minutes.
Just a little bit.
So they got it down really quickly and we were all good. And they watched me, I think, longer than they even watched Brixton because he was good before I was. But yeah, it was after that, like honestly, after that, I can't even remember fully. I think we moved to another room maybe.
We did.
After that, and
it took a little bit, but we ended up moving to another room.
Yeah, wild. And postpartum is a whole other thing. We can talk about that another time because that was after a smooth pregnancy and a fairly smooth delivery. Postpartum was the
rough
time I was not prepared for. Didn't think it was going to be so hard.
She stayed sick probably
for got to me.
Another 2 weeks post delivery. She was still sick, coughing, and coughing doesn't help right after you had
Bo and my mom literally took care of me and Brixton.
Yeah.
Like, I fed him, and that was pretty much it. They did everything else. Like, they kept us alive, so crazy. But anyway, that's Brixton's birth story.
That's right.
So now he is 1.
Yep.
How wild is that?
It's crazy.
What's been your favorite thing about being a dad so far? Putting you on the spot.
Oh, favorite thing about... There's just a lot. I mean, I think it's saying a little bit of, like, his personalities. You see some of mom in him, you see some of me in him, and then you see a little bit of his own. That's fun, and seeing how that will continue to grow into his full-on personality. Kind of cool. His first words were "dada," which is pretty cool. I mean, I don't care.
Because he was trying, since he literally came out, he's like, "dada, dada, dada."
It's not true. I would say.
It's very true.
Dada, 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 dada. And it worked. So I don't care what anybody says. He said dada. Yeah, it's fun. I think the coolest thing, again, just the time period of where we're at with work and things like that. I didn't have to go in anywhere. Would have been available for the first 2 weeks anyways after he was born, just for like family leave stuff that you get for being a dad still. But I had like a lot of extra time, and then post that is when we stepped into our role of youth pastoring here at District Church, and love every second of what we get to do and who Brixton gets to be around and who we know he's going to grow up with. But even just like knowing I didn't take that job until October 17th, and so I was at home for like the first month of him being alive, there every day. Like the only time that I wasn't at home is if I was at football practice or went to a game. Didn't go like that first week, obviously didn't go to the game, but we like,
I don't think it was obvious, but
whatever. But it's not a normal thing to be able to spend the first month with your newborn, and so just being able to be around enough to where like we say like he's not really a mama's boy, he's not really a daddy, like he's split down the middle.
Pretty split.
And I was expecting him,
phases, but pretty split.
I was expecting him to be more of a mama's boy at first because it's just normal. Like when he starts running around and wanting to fight all the time, yes, he'll be daddy's boy when he's a toddler. Who knows? He still could be a mom, but I was expecting more of that. And I think because I was able to spend so much time at home right away, and he was so used to me being around, it's just fun watching him recognize you for the first time is awesome. And when you're gone for a little bit and you come back and like his first time smiling when he sees you again, it's the coolest.
It's literally the best thing ever.
What about you? First year, what's your favorite thing so far in your first year of being a mom?
I think like knowing that I'm his safe space, if that makes sense. Even when we take videos and stuff of like fun things he does, it's like such a small glimpse of who he is. And it's in the like quiet one-on-one moments where I feel like I get to see so much more of who he is because he's comfortable and like he knows me. Like I mean, they say for like the first 6 months or whatever, he doesn't even recognize that we're two individual humans. He's just like part of me. So many of those moments that I'm like, oh, I wish I could just record that so I have it forever. But it's just that moment of like him looking up and smiling at me or making a face at me in like a way that I can't even explain it. He just melts my heart. Like like I could like my heart could explode sometimes when he's just sitting there. Like a lot of times rocking him to sleep at night and he's just like the sweetest ever. He's literally the sweetest boy.
Yes, it's pretty great.
I mean, this is kind of a flip-sided coin. I don't know if that's the expression. I feel like it's close, but not quite. But being needed all the time. Yes, it's exhausting, and there are times that I'm like, I could use a break from being needed, but also knowing that he needs me and I'm the one that God gave the responsibility to like give him everything he needs. And especially in the first, you know, year when you're breastfeeding and all that, like he literally relies on me for life, essentially. It's like, it's really crazy. But yeah, it's just, we got so lucky with Brixton. He's just the best.
Yep.
Just the best.
And now, pause.
Oh, hat change.
I'm gonna be a girl dad in March of 2024.
So we're gonna do this all over again.
But with a girl, which is
terrifying to both.
I didn't talk for a while. That's another video. We'll get to that later. But Brixton's gonna be an older brother. He's gonna be the best older brother ever.
It's hard to imagine. Like I didn't know that my heart could handle the growth that it did having Brixton. And I extra can't imagine how my heart is supposed to expand for baby number 2.
She
but
literally,
well.
right, like a month or 2 after he was born, she was like, I don't know how we can ever have another kid. Like, I don't think I want another one. Like,
I didn't say that.
Not like
but
that.
I said,
but it was
I
like,
don't know how my heart could like.
She's like, how are you supposed to have another kid? And literally like a few months later, if not a few weeks later, she goes, I think when we hit month 3, I was feeling way more settled and like confident and comfortable. And that's kind of when some people say like the maternal instincts kick in right away. For me, I feel like it took a while. And I think part of that was just my recovery process. I think around the 3-month mark is when I was like, I know what he needs. I feel like I know better than like people around me telling me what to do. I feel like I know him. I know what he needs. And then it was around that same time when I was like, I can have another kid.
Yeah.
But it's funny because it wasn't like a negative thing. She was like, I love this kid so much. How am I supposed to like share that with another one? How could we possibly do this? And then give it a little bit of time, and she was like, maybe we should try to do this. I was like, I'm always down to try. So
we're good at practicing.
Yeah.
Happy 1-year birthday, Brixton.
Happy birthday, Bubba.
We love you so much.
Mwah.